The nature of humanity is complicated. We're a flawed species, but we're also inherently good. Yes, we've committed sin and atrocities, but we've also done things that are incredible. We've done revolutions, we've built societies of utopia, we've consummated our values of liberty and equality and free will, but we've also killed one another. We've committed horrible acts of aggression and manslaughter towards one another. The nature of humanity itself is flawed. We're not evil, but we're not inherently good. We weren't created to be evil. God created us to be His children, His masterpiece, the thing that He cherishes the most, until we sinned. So we're, in a sense, we're like a diamond. We're not refined yet. We're raw. We've been uncut. We still have rough edges, but we're still very beautiful. And like diamonds, we have to go under a lot of pressure to become the thing that we're meant to be, which is whatever God intends for us to be. I think that's the nature of humanity, is being flawed, yet being beautifully flawed. As far as the purpose of human life, well, I haven't quite figured that out yet. Honestly, we're here because God wants us here, and for what reason that may be, I'm not entirely sure. But we don't exist by chance. The purpose of our lives, at least based on everything that I've seen or heard other Christians and other individuals talk about, is to fulfill some sort of higher purpose or calling that's unbeknown to us until it comes time for us to find out. And these are things that God reveals to us. But we don't just exist by chance. We're here for a reason. And what that reason may be is, well, only God knows that. What is the nature of the world? The nature of the world is, well, it's vicious. The nature of the world is vicious. It's a cycle of good and evil. It's a volcano, if you will. It's beautiful, but it's deadly. Bad things happen in the world all the time, but so do good things. It's hard to say, really. It's like a beautiful plant that's poisonous. That's the nature of the world. It's destructive, it's archaic, but it's beautiful. It's breathtaking, and there's so much of it to be seen. There's so much of it to explore. And the world wasn't born that way. It was made that way, essentially, by us. The world was influenced by our actions. And as humans, if we're a species of archaic beings that are capable of great things and capable of committing atrocities, then in turn, the world's going to reflect that, since we're living on it and we make it the way it is. Yes, God makes the world the way it is also, but He gives us free will. And what we do with that free will is plainly revealed in how things play out around us in our environment. That's my answer. The world is archaic, but it's also beautiful, and it's full of endless possibilities. The thing that's wrong with the world is, well, basically like before, it's archaic. It's become corrupted by us, by evil intentions, and that's the best thing I can think of. It's corrupted. It's archaic. It's not extremely structured. The world is constantly evolving and changing, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. We make it the way it is. The problem with the world is essentially us, and essentially the sin that we represent and the sin that we stain it with. Things go wrong because bad things happen. We make terrible choices as a species, and then sometimes it's just the cycle of life. Everything dies. Everything lives. There's a time for sorrow. There's a time for happiness. It's a cycle that's natural. But in turn, the cycle is pushed or elevated in its speed because of the things that we do. There's a lot wrong with the world, but there also, at the same time, isn't as much as we'd like to think. really there's only one thing wrong with the world. It's us and the things that we bring into it, the things that we try to reflect in the world. I don't know how we can fix the wrong. The only way to fix it would probably be to change our actions, but we've tried adapting and changing, and it hasn't worked out for us when we do it on our own. Really, the only hope that mankind has is the belief that there is a God or a higher power that sees all of our toils and our troubles and actually wants to see us succeed, wants to help us, wants to redeem us and wrap us in love and support and comfort and show us that there's a better way to life. That's the only hope, really. That there is something better and more powerful and greater than us, something that is worthwhile.